They all laughed at the secretary, until the day the man she saved became the CEO willing to burn the world for her. Before the story begins, hit subscribe now and support this channel because what you're about to hear will shock you to your core. Amara Khan had always believed that silence was a form of strength, but the people at Falcon Dynamics treated her silence as weakness, and that mistake, underestimating the quiet secretary with the warm eyes and steady hands, would become the most catastrophic error of their lives, because the day her past collided with her present was the day the entire company's facade began to crumble. She arrived every morning before dawn, typing reports, arranging schedules, preparing coffee, staying invisible just enough to survive, because survival was the only thing she knew how to do. She had been doing it ever since the night her father vanished without explanation, and her stepmother threw her out of the house with nothing but a broken suitcase and a heart too bruised to feel anything except determination to rebuild her life. Falcon Dynamics became that refuge, until it turned into a battlefield she didn't even know she was walking through. Everyone thought she was insignificant, except one man, Adrian Hale, the mysterious new CEO whose appointment had been announced only weeks after the company's board fired the previous one under rumors of corruption, fraud, and something darker that no one dared whisper aloud. Adrian was known outside the company as ruthless, brilliant, untouchable, the corporate world's silent storm, feared for his cold intelligence and rumored ties to underground networks that made enemies disappear. But the moment he stepped into the office and saw Amara standing by the reception desk with her file folders pressed to her chest, something in his expression cracked, as if he recognized her soul before his mind did. People whispered about him, about the scar across his jaw that he never explained, about the strange heaviness in his eyes that made others step back. But what they didn't know was that Adrian carried secrets too, especially one connected to a girl he once knew, a girl who had saved his life long before he became a king of skyscrapers and boardrooms. That girl was Amara, though she didn't yet know it. The tension began the day a confidential document disappeared from the CEO's floor, and Amara, because she happened to be present, was immediately blamed by her jealous supervisor, Hina Malik, who had always hated Amara's kindness and grace, resenting that despite being a simple secretary, Amara possessed a quiet beauty no one could diminish. "Check her bag," Hina snapped during the emergency meeting, her voice sharp with satisfaction, certain she had finally found a way to crush the girl she'd spent months trying to break. But when security opened Amara's handbag and found nothing except her notebook, her broken phone, and a locket containing a faded photo she kept hidden, the room fell silent. Adrian, watching with arms folded, spoke in a tone so cold the air itself seemed to freeze. "If you ever accuse her again without proof, I'll destroy your entire department." Everyone thought he was simply defending an employee, but something deeper flickered through his gaze, something like fear or recognition. That night, long after everyone had gone home, Amara remained behind to rewrite a report Hina had deliberately sabotaged earlier, and when the power suddenly cut out across the building, she froze, listening to the eerie silence echoing from the hallways. She stepped out of her cubicle, her breath trembling, when a shadow passed behind the glass walls of the office. Heavy footsteps, a metallic clink. Someone was inside the CEO's private room. She saw the door slightly open, a blue light flickering within, and before she could move, a hand clamped over her mouth. She struggled, terror ripping through her, until she heard a whisper. "It's me." Adrian released her, pulling her against the wall as a masked man emerged from the CEO's office carrying a hard drive. "You weren't supposed to be here," Adrian hissed at the intruder, his voice razor sharp. And when the man lunged at him with a knife, Adrian moved faster than she could blink, twisting the attacker's wrist, sending the blade clattering across the floor. The intruder fled, leaving Adrian breathing hard in the darkness, and Amara, shaken, confused, finally understood that the rumors about his dangerous past weren't rumors at all. The next day, news spread that someone had hacked into Falcon Dynamics' financial archives, and suspicion immediately swung toward Amara again, fueled by Hina's venomous whispers. The board called an investigation. Her job was on the line. Meanwhile, Adrian disappeared for hours each day, returning with tension carved into his jaw, as if he was hunting someone, or being hunted. Amara tried to keep her distance from him, terrified of the growing storm around her, but Adrian kept gravitating towards her, insisting she ride home with him after work, insisting she eat, insisting she lock her doors, insisting she trust him, even when she wasn't sure she trusted herself. And then came the night everything changed. She returned home to find her small apartment ransacked, her documents stolen, her mattress slashed open, her father's picture torn in half. Adrian arrived minutes later after she'd called him trembling and breathless, and the look in his eyes when he saw the destruction was something terrifying, like a wolf seeing someone hurt his mate. "This is the same pattern," he muttered, scanning the wreckage as if the walls themselves held answers. "Same signature, same method." "Same as what?" she whispered. He hesitated before answering. "The group that tried to kill me years ago, the group I've been hunting ever since." She stared at him, the world tilting. Why would they come after me? Adrian turned to her with a grief-filled expression she didn't understand, and in that moment, as thunder rolled beyond the window, he finally revealed the truth. "Because of your father." Her heart stopped. He took the torn photo from her hands, smoothing its edges with trembling fingers. "You think your father abandoned you? He didn't. He was running because he found evidence of corruption inside Falcon Dynamics long before I ever stepped in. The previous board wanted him gone, permanently, but he escaped with the files." She shook her head, memory spinning, her father's sudden disappearance, the fear in his eyes the last night she saw him. "My father was the whistleblower." "More than that," Adrian whispered. "He saved me when they tried to silence me, too." Amara's knees buckled beneath her. He caught her, held her, and something inside her, something she had buried for years, cracked open. In the next days, everything spiraled. The company's vice president attempted to frame Amara again by planting altered financial records in her email, but Adrian intercepted them, exposing the scheme with evidence gathered from sources no ordinary CEO should have access to. People began to fear him, not for his coldness, but for the terrifying clarity of his vengeance. "Anyone who touches her," he warned at the emergency board meeting, "will regret being born." Meanwhile, Amara struggled with guilt, fear, and confusion as memories resurfaced. Her father whispering to someone on the phone, the sound of footsteps outside their house, her stepmother's sudden cruelty, and the night she found a strange chip hidden in her father's watch. What she didn't know was that chip was the key to everything, and she had unknowingly brought it with her to work every day inside her locket. Adrian discovered it when the locket fell during one of their late-night discussions. His breath caught when he saw the chip. This is what they've been looking for. The locket became the most dangerous object in the city. Then came the miracle, a moment so shocking even Adrian didn't believe it until he saw it with his own eyes. A private investigator he hired located a man living in the outskirts under a hidden identity, a man with scars, a man with Amara's eyes, her father. The reunion was explosive with emotion, Amara collapsing into his arms, both sobbing after years of separation, her father explaining how he'd faked his death to protect her, how he'd watched from afar, unable to reveal himself until Adrian's arrival made it safe. But the miracle didn't last long. The very next night, the attackers struck again, this time attempting to kidnap Amara to use her as leverage. Adrian fought them with a ferocity that left Amara trembling, not because she feared him, but because she realized how deep his devotion to her ran. And when he held her afterward, whispering, "I'm not losing you again," she understood something she hadn't dared admit. He wasn't just protecting her, he loved her with a force that could shake empires. The final twist arrived like lightning. The masked leader of the criminal group, the one responsible for targeting her father, for attempting to destroy Adrian, for orchestrating every disaster, turned out to be none other than the former CEO of Falcon Dynamics, a man who had vanished after being publicly fired. Raymond Weiler, a mastermind who had built an empire of corruption beneath the company's surface. He confronted them in an abandoned factory lit by flickering flames, sneering at Amara as if she were an insect. "Your father ruined everything," he snarled, "and now you will finish paying the price." But Adrian stepped in front of her, his voice like a death sentence. touch her, and I'll bury you myself." A violent battle erupted, Adrian fighting with brutal precision, Amara's father helping despite his injuries, and in the chaos, Amara herself discovered a strength she didn't know she possessed. She grabbed the fallen hard drive, the final evidence of Weiler's crimes, and activated the emergency alert that sent the files to the authorities Adrian had discreetly arranged. Weiler lunged at her, but Adrian intercepted him, slamming him to the ground with rage so cold it burned. Sirens wailed. Police stormed the building. Weiler was arrested, screaming threats that no longer mattered. In the aftermath, Falcon Dynamics publicly declared Amara a hero. Though she barely cared about titles or praise, her heart was too full, too overwhelmed by everything she had survived. Her father was safe, the danger was gone, and Adrian was no longer